ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Town of Portland Board of Education podcast. And I'm your host, Dave Kuzminski, and in the studio with me is our Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Charles Britton. And how are you, Charles?
Dave, I'm doing well. It's the day before Good Friday and April vacation, so always a good time of year in the life of an educator.
Absolutely. Spring break.
Yeah. Yeah, I know our kids and teachers are excited. And they should be. I hope everybody has a safe and restful and well-deserved couple days to enjoy the great outdoors, go for a hike, get out there, get some fresh air in the lungs and just enjoy what.
Exactly.
I saw the flowers are coming up. Things are starting to green up.
Yes. March is a long month.
March is probably the worst.
Yes.
In terms of length and
No holidays, no nothing.
And if you're an outdoor person, it's not quite that great a ski season. It's a little too warm, kind of muddy, stick season, right? So, but we're through it, and the beauties of spring are here.
Exactly. So anyway, so tell us what's new in the district. And I know you had a lot going on. There's a lot of things happening. We had just concluding our budget season. We had our Board of Selectmen meeting last night, and the Board of Selectmen basically voted to put the budget or okayed the budget. So that's going to be going to referendum, and so maybe we can talk a little bit about the budget process.
Sure. So I guess I need to start with a great big shout out and show of appreciation to the Board of Education, the Board of Selectmen, the first Selectman, Ryan Curley, and all of the residents who came out for the special town meeting and the hearing to apply the supplemental funding to replace the track.
Yeah, it's in the works.
Very exciting. That track is going to be replaced soon. There is positive movement in that direction. It's wonderful. I loved the town meeting. It's like democracy. You can just feel it, right? Like
sure.
Everybody, saying their opinion and taking a vote and exercising the franchise, right?
Exactly.
That is what separates us as a constitutional democracy from everybody else, and it's wonderful. And sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. In this case, the argument was made, the details were shared. I think Ryan Curley did an excellent job explaining what happened and what the increases were associated with in terms of inflation and the condition of the track foundation. And the voters have spoken, and we are going to have some movement this summer on replacing the track. Thank you, everybody. And the concerns about how it will impact the opening of school and soccer season. It's all going to be fine. We
got it all figured out.
We've got it. And those things that still need to be figured out with the details. Yeah. Soccer season is going to happen. Our kids are going to have a great experience this fall. Whether we have to change some parking spots or whatever, we'll work it out.
Exactly.
We have to do this. It's important, and we're going to have a wonderful another treasure for the community to use.
Absolutely, and well needed, and long time coming too.
No doubt. As far as the budget, it's not done yet. I know the referendum is May 8th.
That's correct.
I again, in the spirit of democracy, encourage folks to exercise the franchise. Right?
Yes.
Come on out and make your voice heard, and if there's any information people need to know about the budget, cuts that were made to it, and where we are, call me, email me. Everything's online. You can watch the video. There's no lack of transparency.
Absolutely.
That the internet provides us, and it's on YouTube. My goodness, there's lots of ways to access that information. Or if you're old school, give me a call.
Pick up the phone.
Give me a call. I'd love to talk to you about it.
Exactly.
I don't want to spend a lot of time because the details, while important, I don't want to go into them, although I certainly could. But just I hope everybody understands budgeting a $22 million budget, $22,500,000 budget to run 5 schools and all of the programs is incredibly complicated.
Sure.
Right? There's I'm sure private sector has its own complications in terms of sales and receipts and income and outcome. We too in the public sector.
Yep.
It's incredibly complicated.
Yep.
And what makes it so complicated for us is that oftentimes we're asking for resources 16 to 18 months in advance of when we're going to need those
them.
resources. And as we've learned,
yes,
things were very different 16, 18 months ago now.
Exactly.
And I guarantee you things are going to be very different 16 to 18 months from now.
Sure.
Right? Things are always changing. And
influx,
outflux, revenues, expenses. It's very complicated. But we have a wonderful business manager, an excellent finance director for the town. We watch every penny. We make freezes, we make adjustments, we do things throughout the year and prioritize those things that we know are most essential for teaching and learning.
Sure. Yep.
That said, it's a 3.49% budget that's going to the voters. I think that's a very reasonable number based on the current inflationary environment. Folks just have to look around at surrounding towns to know that, right? I think I'm very appreciative for the leaders here in the district who've written lots of grants and have helped us subsidize the budget in ways that are very helpful. Like, for example, the new Chromebooks, all purchased with a connectivity grant written by our director of technology, Eric Martin.
Yep.
Thank you, Eric. Huge shout out to you. Those are examples of the mental health grant that Dawn Davis wrote that's going to help us, right? These are the things we do to help mitigate the effect on the taxpayer, local taxpayer. It's all taxpayer money, of course.
Exactly.
But also make sure our students have the technology, the resources, the support they need.
Yeah. And a lot of those things, people in the public don't realize that stuff's happening in the background.
Oh, yeah. And that's why I'd welcome a call. Like, come on.
Sure.
I'd be happy to show you. And I would just say that at that 3.49%, people have to understand it's not everything I asked for. It's not everything we wanted. No. It's frankly not everything we need. Right. But it's sufficient.
Yep.
And if it is passed, I'm confident that we'll have the core academic, athletic, extracurricular, arts programs that we need.
Yep.
And reasonable class sizes, and we will be able to have another very successful year. So come on out, exercise the franchise. It's inappropriate for me to tell people how to vote. It is certainly appropriate for me to encourage people to vote and educate people about what's included in the budget for those who desire that information.
Sure. I think last night's Board of Selectmen meeting we have, and again, giving credence to, the stewardship that, both the town and the Board of Ed do with budgeting. We had our annual report from the town's auditor, Mahoney and Sable, and again, with Mahoney and Sable in conjunction against Stephanie and Tom that do such a great job. That we had a very, very positive review of the as far as that goes from our auditors, and that's huge. That's huge. So we're doing things the right way, and we're checking all of the boxes. And again, the townspeople should be assured that the stewardship of the town, both on the Board of Ed and the government side, are there. We're watching our pennies.
Yeah, 100%. We always end up, well, at least in the time I've been here, it's important to end up with those unqualified clean audits, right? That demonstrate the management of the budgets. And again, credit to Stephanie and Tom. They're amazing people.
Yes.
They have a mind for the accounting side of things. I'm glad they do it. They keep me very well informed, but I fortunately get to go out and watch teaching and learning and be involved in some things that I find a little more dynamic than looking at spreadsheets. But
right.
I'm glad somebody who enjoys that and is very good at it is with us.
Yes, no, for sure. And Tom works very hard.
Yes,
and,
he does.
I've coined his nickname Commander Numbers. So
yeah, he is. And the thing I love about both Tom and Stephanie, and I hope they hear me say this about them, is they have a really solid knack for explaining very complicated things in layman's terms.
Sure.
So I appreciate that, because sometimes other I don't like to call them bean counters, but other bean counters I've worked with,
Yes.
Can be a little more difficult to follow.
Oh, absolutely.
But I love Stephanie and Tom. They're very, very clear.
Well, and as I think is a fine example of that is, the funding for the track. Okay. Right. They were very creative in, making that happen, and in a very frugal and cost-effective way.
100%. Yeah, absolutely. No doubt. So
okay. So I know last night Ryan gave a brief synopsis of the facilities committee, and they're starting to wrap up as far as that goes. So do tell.
Oh my goodness! So while everybody's on April vacation next week,
yep,
I'm going to try to go see a Mets game and enjoy a little bit of time with myself and my kids,
Metropolitans.
Right? Yeah, they're not doing as well as I thought they would be doing already. They got killed the past couple of nights, but hey, it's still early, right? But I am going to be spending a considerable amount of time next week writing the facility study committee report.
Uh-huh.
So Monday night was, I believe, our second to last, our penultimate meeting.
Yep.
Right? And the first Monday in May, the committee is getting back together for what I hope will be the last time to review and I hope take action to approve, maybe amended slightly depending on how they like what I've written, a report that per a Board of Selectmen resolution was supposed to have been done a year ago, but we asked for an extension because of the level of detail we needed to get into.
Yeah.
That is going to be presented to a joint Board of Education, Board of Selectmen meeting this spring.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That report is going to bring forward recommendations for what we know are significant facility improvement needs here in the district.
Right.
So everybody, universally, I think across the board, nobody who knows the history of our schools or works in our schools or visits our schools doesn't agree with the concept that something must be done because, as with everything, when buildings get past 30, 35, 40 years without major capital investments, things fall apart.
Exactly.
Right? I mean,
aging infrastructure.
Anybody who drives over a potholed road or owns a home knows you need to put money into them or they're going to deteriorate to a point where the potholes become impassable or the roof falls in.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And while we're not there with our schools, we're getting close.
Yes.
Right. And our experience with the track is informative, right?
Yeah.
That yes, this needed to happen, or something, rip the track out of there or something because it's not usable anymore.
Exactly.
Right? I mean, again, we got close with the track. We couldn't have track meets there. People could still walk on it, but there would be a point if it wasn't fixed where it wouldn't be walkable anymore. That's where we are with our schools now. They're usable, they're safe, they're open. Our kids are in a safe environment, but if we don't do something within the next 5 years or so, they may not be.
Right.
So this committee has some ideas about what we need to do to make the investments in the schools so that they're not only safe, healthy, and functioning now, but they're safe, healthy, and functioning for the next 30 years.
Right.
For generations of students whose parents haven't even met yet.
Uh-huh.
Right? I mean, that's
exactly
really what we're talking about. There's two people out there who maybe in grade school right now who are going to fall in love and have kids and
we go.
Going to want a good school to send them to in Portland, right?
Yep.
So we're thinking that far ahead.
Yeah.
Now, what I know is going to be in the report, because the committee took a position on this, is that it's expensive and it takes a lot of resources out of an year-to-year operating budget to run 3 schools for 700 students.
Right.
The only example I would give to somebody is how much more would it cost you if instead of living in one house with a family of 4, you bought a second house and 2 of your family members lived in that house and 2 of your family members lived in this house?
Yes.
You'd have a second mortgage.
Yes.
You'd have, more grass to cut, more oil bills to pay.
Exactly. Electricity.
It would be more expensive to have 2 houses rather than 1. And that's where we are, right? That our kid running 3 schools is expensive because those schools all require upkeep. So the committee's position is that it would be a better and more frugal investment in fewer schools and better for not only our budget fiscal picture, but better for teaching and learning.
Right.
If we're not sending kids to 3 different schools in the first 6 years of their schooling, but consolidating.
Okay.
So that's what I know is going to be in the report, will be a recommendation for consolidating schools.
Well, we're running actually 4 schools, though.
Right, and I'm talking about elementary. I should be clear. Elementary school.
Oh, okay. All right. I see what you're saying.
I'm not talking about the secondary.
Okay.
I'm talking specifically about Valley View, Gildersleeve, and Brownsville.
I see.
Thank you for helping me clarify that, right? So the interesting thing would be, okay, Gildersleeve would be the school that it makes the most sense to close. Fix up Brownstone, which needs work. Fix up and add classroom space to Valley View. And if Valley View, the committee's position, not unanimous, but by majority of the committee, felt that Valley View becoming a pre-K 3 school, Gildersleeve becoming a 4-6 school, and then Brownstone becoming a 4-6 school, and Gildersleeve becoming something else other than a Portland public school. Right. Now, here's the hard part. Our committee hasn't decided, if the community embraces that notion, what Gildersleeve should become. Like, we don't know. We didn't do a market research analysis or long-term study on what happens to old schools. Like, what do they become? That work still needs to be done. Right. And I think the town would be wise to answer that question before any kind of bonding or ask of the community about funding and investments in 2 schools rather than 3.
Right.
Elementary schools. Right. So that's going to be in the report, and it's pretty nuanced. I mean, it's complicated to explain that way, because there's anybody who says, "Well, I can't support a plan that doesn't answer all of my questions." Right. I gotta say, I don't disagree with that. So the next step of this process is going to involve that, right? It's going to involve a recommendation that before this recommendation from our facilities study committee is voted on and endorsed and shared with the homeowners and property tax owners in Portland, more work needs to be done to help round out the picture of what this means for all town buildings, right? And what it would mean for Gildersleeve if Gildersleeve no longer was a school, right? So, and that's what, it's a little bit, I guess I don't want to say disappointing, but it's a reality that this report isn't going to say, this is what we do. It's going to say our recommendation is to continue this work, to continue, have more discussions, bring in commercial realtors, bring in community members, and ask the question that if we did this, what would happen to that school? And part of that is based on a recognition that, for better or worse, Portland has a little bit of a checkered past with schools that just were kind of left.
Yes.
Right. I mean,
AKA the town hall.
Right. I mean, look,
that laid vacant for 16 or 17 years, boarded up.
Right. And that is something that I don't know that a lot of folks would support happening again. Right. And that, I don't know the history of it. I wasn't here for that. That's not something that I want to be a part of bringing to Portland is another experience with a boarded up facility.
Building, yes.
Right. So that work needs to be done still. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That was a lot, right?
Well, obviously the option there is, and I think that was one of the conundrums that we ran into, again, when we mothballed Central School. And, there was a big faction in the community that said, I went to school here, we should save it. And there was another faction in the community, we could knock this down and build something better, when we became, our town hall facility on Main Street became lacking in a lot of resources with handicap accessibility and so forth. And that's the thing that we ran into, and it became a political football. As far as that goes, and realistically, after a lot of deliberations and a coupled failed referendums, we finally decided on refurbishing Central School, and rightfully so. I think it came out very well.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
But obviously, with Central School, you got a couple options. Are we going to redo it, or are we going to put it on the market to sell it? Are we going to tear it down, or that type of stuff? So those are the unfortunate the realities that are going to be coming down the pike.
Yeah, and that's that is, you said a political football.
Yes.
Right? I'm going into this eyes wide open. That this plan too has an element that is going to be a political football.
Yeah.
Right. That people are going to disagree with it. And as we go into this, right, as we venture into it, I think that all I would say to everybody is assume good intentions.
Yeah.
Give each other grace.
Yeah.
We have a problem, Portland. The schools need work, right? We've worked hard for 2 years to bring forward a plan. Is it perfect? Is it done? Is it well vetted? Is it every I crossed and T crossed and I dotted? No. But it's a start of a conversation that we all have to have, and we'll do it respectfully, and it's going to be hard, and it's going to be arm wrestling, and we're talking about taxpayer dollars and the future of teaching and learning in our town. These are emotional issues for all of us, but it's an important conversation. It's one we have to have. Let's give each other grace and deference, assume good intentions, and we will figure out how to make sure that our school's infrastructure is strong and supportive of teaching and learning for the next 100 years.
Yeah. I think that's something. And again, it's going to be a conversation, and everybody's going to have their points of view, and that's the whole, democratic process.
It sure is, and that's the beauty of it, right? That we all have a voice, we all have a vote. This isn't a tyranny. I'm not making the decision for anybody. I'm bringing forward ideas that are going to be subject to scrutiny.
Yeah,
hard questions.
Sure.
Not all questions of which I could answer.
Yeah,
but a process.
Yeah.
I'm optimistic. I'm hopeful. And really what obviously drives me is that these are needed improvements for our kids.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So anyway, well, that's, again, to be continued. Absolutely. So
to be continued.
Anyway, moving on to, I think spring sports are starting to get underway and so forth. And I want to give a shout out to, our high school music and chorus department for doing an excellent job with the school play.
Once Upon a Mattress was great.
Yes, it was.
It was in the P. It was so good.
Yeah, it was really good. Both Kristen and Sam did an excellent job, and as well as all the students. I think they were so engaged, and you got to commend the school. For the size school that we are. We had I would say 75% of the student population was engaged in that play, either one way, shape, or form, either backstage, on the stage, or whatever. And that's kudos.
Right. Yeah. No. I swear to goodness, everything our music department does at this secondary school, middle school, and high school blows my mind.
Oh, yes.
Just so incredible.
Yes. Yeah.
The talent of the kids and how it's developed. Really pre-K-12, right?
Yeah.
All the way on up through the concerts. And as a matter of fact, I'm going from here down to Valley View to watch their first grade concert in a few minutes here.
Oh, okay. All right.
I don't know. I'm lucky. I have a great job.
I
just get to watch amazing things happen every day.
Sure. And the sports schedule is underway. Obviously, we got
sports are rocking. Yeah, we got
track is out there.
Track, baseball, tennis.
Yeah,
we're going. It's it's fabulous. We're in a really good place. We're about to head into an exciting time of year with graduation and proms, and yearbook distributions, and moving up ceremonies.
Project graduation.
Project graduation, retirement parties. It's the circadian rhythms of a school year. This time of year is one of my favorites.
Yeah,
it's a great time to celebrate accomplishments and careers, and
Yeah.
and wonderful things.
Yeah, we're going to have a couple of retirements this year.
We are, sure.
my God, one of my counterpart, Mr. Nolte, is going to be is going to be bidding adieu and going to head out to the golf course.
Yeah, he is. I think he's Whistling Straits. I think he was going to go work for or something.
Yes, something like that. So that's great, fantastic. So anyway, all right. Anything else that we need to cover?
I think we're good. I look forward to coming back and likely that when I come back, it will be after this Facility Study Committee report drops.
Yep.
And I'm sure there will be lots of conversation about it.
That'd be great. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, that I think about wraps it up for our Portland School District podcast with our esteemed guest, Dr. Charles Britton. And again, this is episode number 28. I'm your host, Dave Kuzminski, and we are live here in the Town Tech Educational Podcast Studio at Portland High School. So have a great spring break, a safe vacation, and we'll see you all when you get back. Thanks so much.